Okay, I'd like to bring the Tuesday, February 6th Ways and Means Committee meeting to order. Deanne, will you take a roll?
Lutz,
Yes.
Duranza.
Here.
Krieger.
Yes, sir.
Begic.
Here.
Coonan.
Here.
Ryder.
Here.
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 Horn present.
And before you have the minutes of 1/3/18. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next, we have the feigned public input part of this meeting. Anybody that would like to come forth and address us, please feel free to step to the podium and do so. I see they're rushing to the open mic. Okay. So from that, we'll go on to petitions and communications. From our Bay County Sheriff, we have a couple different items. One is the Marine Patrol grant for 2018.
Support.
We have a motion and support. And there was a question earlier, I think it was a meeting ago by Commissioner Coonan, where's the boat?
It was me.
Or was it Ernie? Oh, it was Ernie, okay. I knew it was.
The boat's being made. It just started, they started at State Boat International on January 25th. I've been in communication with our project manager, and he tells me that it's going to be completed the end of March, and it'll be shipped up here. We should receive it the beginning of April this year.
Very good.
And I believe in talking with the sheriff, it was delayed a little bit because we didn't want to pay storage on it once it got here. So that was a good thought.
Right, we did. And that way it won't be transported in this mess we got going on now, so
Right.
the weather should clear.
Commissioner Krieger.
So when it gets here, are we using a bottle like an Arnold Palmer? How are we gonna christen this boat?
The minnow.
I'll ask the sheriff.
Good question. And very nice uniform. You look marvelous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner
Where's this being docked?
It's going to be Pier 7, I believe,
Okay,
where we currently have a slip.
yeah, I guess I didn't do that before, I did.
Yeah, so it's gonna be transported up flatbed with the trailer, and we're gonna take it over there. Need a forklift to get it off there and bring it up the
Okay,
trailer.
thanks.
So they say about 4 to 5 day transport time too.
Oh, really?
And it's coming from Washington, out by Seattle. That's where the production and the manufacturing is being done.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we have a motion and support. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next, we have the jail garage door repair.
So moved. Support.
We have a motion and support. I believe it broke and we had to fix it, so it's already fixed. It was one of those emergency things, this thing, you know, everything, so. We have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next, we have a travel request. We have one from the Register of Deeds. We'll take all three of these at the same time, if that's okay, because they're all about the same thing. We have one from the Register of Deeds for the PRIA conference in New Orleans, one for Deputy Benjamin Latac for the Drug Recognition Expert School in Phoenix, and you were given one here on your table from Joel to go down to the
Atlanta.
Atlanta meeting for the Regional Wellness Trust Fund.
So, support.
Your motion is support. Any discussion? We did ask the administration to propose a policy change so we didn't have to see these that were funded by 100% by other people in the future. So, that'll be forthcoming. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next, we have friend of the court, fiscal year 2018 federal visitation and access grant for Bay County Friend of the Court. What is your pleasure?
Support, or, so moved.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion on that one? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have the MSU Interim District 9 Coordinator for the 2018 agreement for extension services. We have a motion? Oh, and support already. Boy, fast. Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have the golf course fairway mower. This is a maintenance item just to be prepared.
Support.
We have a motion and support. It'll only be purchased if the other one falls down and goes boom. Yes, Bob?
Back when Rick Payables was here, we also had some sort of arrangement with another golf course or two, in case they could spare one while the new one was coming in. You might want to check with Rick on that. In case the new one can't come in later, that's a mower. You want to keep the golf course going, it's a mower you gotta have.
I mean, typically it's more used every day, so wouldn't assume that golf courses have more than one, but I will check into it.
Yeah. Rick had contacted people.
Anyone else? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next, we have the Vantiv credit card processor for recreation.
So moved. Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? We're trying to limit the number of credit cards processors that are used within the county. And apparently this, from checking with IT, can be used in 5 or 6 different locations within the county, so that's a good thing. Next question.
Question, what the fee is, what is our fee with them? Is it 1%, 2%, 3%?
I don't know off the top of my head. I do have a proposed contract back on my desk. I could get it to you. I'm not 100% sure, but there's a lot of different ways that those fees are figured out. But I could forward you the information when I get back to my desk.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ryan.
Since it's not just the golf course, I noticed on the agenda, it's also for clerks. Are we negotiating all of them together, or would make sense if we're negotiating them all together versus everyone separately? So what are we doing?
I can only speak to the ones that we're doing in the recreation department. And I know that these ones work and fit with all of our softwares, and that's why we're going with it. Also, our current vendor at the golf course for our software cut ties with the current credit card processor that we have, so we don't currently have a credit card processor at the golf course. It's sort of why we're moving quickly. It's my understanding that in regards to everybody else, that's somewhere down the pipeline, but I'm not involved in that process, so I don't really have any further information.
So if this one has been negotiated, and down the line there's 4 added to it, can we renegotiate that as well?
And there's provisions in that contract for us to either get out or do what we need to do.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kuhn.
Maybe you can provide those fees on next week's agenda so we all can see them.
Sure.
And I think that, economy of scale, if you got the whole county using the same processor, I think you could negotiate better fees. And, but that's something I think we're going to be discussing a little later too, aren't we? So, but yeah, if we can see the fees, that'd be great. And it seemed to me that any credit card would work on any, are you doing a swiping? I don't know what's so different about that working with your software? You mean no credit card, any other credit card wouldn't work with your software?
It's not the credit card, it's the credit card processor. So we have to have, Vantiv is a credit card processor. So at the golf course, you can swipe any card that you want to swipe, any card that you have in your wallet, and our credit card processor speaks directly to our software in order to complete the sale.
And part of the other issues to look at in terms of whether or not we're going to be using one credit card processor throughout the county is different offices such as the Register of Deeds and the Clerk need to use a separate credit card carrier and a different software processor due to the fact that they can't actually, it can't charge the county back for a fee because it's a state mandated fee. So what it does is it imposes an additional user fee on the purchaser on top of the cost of the purchase. So they're not buying they're not making a $25 charge and the county is absorbing some cost that would usually take place with a regular retailer. They're actually paying $23 or $28 for a $25 charge. If you're getting some type of service that's mandated by state law to charge a specific fee in one of those county offices. So different systems can work differently.
Commissioner Wright.
So the courts are using a different one as well, or is it compatible with what is being proposed with the clerk? Or are these all going to be separate? I guess what I heard the chair say was that we're going to be using several processors, right?
The goal is to move to as few processors or as few carriers as we can.
Hi.
Hi.
This is a project we've been working on for quite some time now.
Yeah.
So if we take the point of recreation, we have all the recreation entities. We've actually asked the software companies, do you work with a list of other ones? And they only talk to certain ones, Vantiv being the one sharing for recreation. And then as far as the other ones, the other departments are concerned, we are working towards getting one processor. And we've talked with the courts, and I think their software would be willing to change their back-end processor. So there would be some changes that we would need to make, but because the courts do take in a lot of money, we just have to make sure that all the software talks to the same back-end.
Right, and I know we've been working on it for a while, and, but here we got, 2 more coming up, and,
I think what we try to do with her is we have to get recreation going, because they wouldn't talk to the ones, like, for example, Tyler Munis has certain processors, and Vantiv isn't one of those, but her software works with Vantiv and they won't work with the other ones. So that's why we chose, we recommend Vantiv for them. And then we're looking towards 2 other processors that do support Tyler Munis for citizens to be pay their bills online and, to get where we are using one processor. And a lot of processors will have, like for the case of, for the clerk, they will actually bring you the equipment in there and you swipe it and the equipment's from the processor. So that's what we're working towards.
right. So I know we've been working on it for a while, and we're trying to get this down, and that's the wave of the future, to be able to pay by your plastic, or your debit card, Yes, Ron?
Could you provide us with a flow chart with a list of every office that has credit cards, what they have, and where you're going to?
Okay. Yes, Commissioner.
Just a question for Julie. When you say software, is it the credit card processing company and a point of sale? Is that the software?
Yes.
Okay, so
The 2
the
backends
court
have to
system's
talk.
point of sale is
Yes.
obviously different than recreation.
Correct.
So
Yes.
this is where they don't mesh.
Right.
Okay. And the fees are based on average ticket sale too, correct?
And it really depends on their processor. Like for
Okay.
the one that Amber was referring to, there's govpay.net, which a friend of the court uses, but they tack a fee on top of it.
Okay.
So that isn't, when you make a copy in the registered deeds office and your copy's $3, you don't want to charge a citizen $6. So
Right.
that's what we're trying to get where
Yeah.
there's not the fee on the front end, that we're going to be based on volume of sale.
I
total
just wanted to
sales.
clarify, it's not our financial.
It's not our system.
Finance
Right.
department software,
It's
it's
not
a point of
finance.
sale because obviously it would be different for each one.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Thank you. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Let's see, Personnel Director. Tuition reimbursement request.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? We had a little bit earlier. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Next, Director, Department of Aging, motivational speaker for all staff, training day.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next is the Health Director, Amendment Number 2 to the CPBC agreement.
So moved. Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have under mosquito control, a few springtime things. Light trap data contracts.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Commissioner Krieger.
I do have a question on, hi there. So we pay these individuals $50 a month.
Correct.
Has it been $50 forever, or did we just make changes?
It's been $50 for maybe 2 years or so. It used to be $40 and it increased to 50.
Okay. Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next is the tire shredding contract.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Commissioner Krieger.
Yep, I have another question. Should have had you just stand there.
Yeah, you got a couple.
Well, you'll
of
get
things.
your steps in today. On the fees that we pay for the tire shredding, on April 21st, because of Earth Day being on the 20th, we're going to, the green team at Bangor will be putting on an exhibit on things that you can do to be more, environmentally friendly. People will be able to bring in refrigerators, air conditioners, that will be recycled, but we also will be taking in tires. And the game plan is to have a trailer that we'll be putting them in and bringing them over to you.
Correct.
That will still continue to be a benefit.
Just as it has been for years, yes. We coordinate
Very
with Bangor
good.
Township and
And
Hinton
no
Township.
rims, strictly.
No rims,
Yep.
no tractor tires,
Okay.
residential tires.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Herrick.
Thank you. The amount of scrap tires that I see you picked up, last year, 2,800 tires, do they just bring like 6 trucks here, or they just pile them and then load them back in, or what's the process?
For the tires that we receive?
Yeah.
Are all homeowners, so we get maybe, 200 vehicles in that day that we're unloading 4 or 5 tires at a time.
But I mean, the company that hauls them away,
There's a semi that they leave with us, so it's a semi-trailer. We can fill it with maybe 1,200 tires we can fit in
Okay.
there. If we need another trailer, we can call them up, they'll provide another one.
that's just wondering how many fit in one of those.
Yeah,
things.
correct.
Okay.
And we contract with that company because they will leave a trailer with us. Otherwise, there are other scrap tire companies. However, that would result in a scrap tire pile. They won't leave a trailer, and then there's permitting involved in that and liability. So that's why we've been going with this company.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Will there still be a pickup at Fraser Township?
Correct, yes. We contacted them in the fall, and they agreed again to do another one later this summer. So we'll have one in Bay City and Fraser Township Hall.
All right, very good, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay. Anyone else? You got one more. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Next, we have the controls material bid award for our chemicals for this spring.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion and support, any discussion? I guess you're safe. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Same sign, motion carries. Next, we have payables.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next is the finance officer. We have the budget adjustments for the sheriff, golf course, and building and grounds and civic arena.
So moved. Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have the analysis of the general fund equity. Motion
Move
to
to
receive.
receive.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next is the updated executive directive for 2007-11. Motion received.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Glad to see they're not changing anything. Next, we have purchasing of the Ricoh Copier contract.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion and support. We're saving a little bit of money on this one, so. We like that. Don't any more discussion, we'll have, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next, we have, referral from the Board of Commissioners, 11-14-17, the county clerk's request for approval of credit card contract with Lexis Nexis.
So moved.
Support.
We have motion and support, don't say that too fast, Lexis Nexis. Well, at this time, we're gonna approve that she can go ahead with this company. Because it works with her software.
We're approving the Lexis Nexis? Is that what you're saying?
Is that where we wanna be?
I do not know whether or not this particular software has been run by the IT department to make a determination if it works with that system or if something else would work with that system.
I'm not sure what she's using for her
Oh, okay.
You know, she has a couple of software, she has a couple different software systems that she uses down there, so I think we need to find out what she's using it for.
And, yeah, I have not seen a contract on this night, been submitted to our office.
Yeah. Maybe we should refer it to finance and IT and come back with
Yeah.
So moved.
the best way of
I'll support that.
addressing.
Yeah, it's not that I don't think she should do it, I just want to make sure that what software she's working with, and it's not, and, you know, doesn't interfere with any of the other stuff that we're trying to do
Okay.
countywide.
So motion to refer to IT and finance.
Finance, yeah.
Okay, and bring it back to Ways and Means whenever you can.
Yeah.
Sooner the better.
We will, we'll get the information
Okay.
in the next couple weeks and get something figured out.
Okay? Any other discussion? Commissioner Creed?
So you're going to look into it, but if there is some type of a contract, I believe Amber should be looking at that part of it also, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Amber's received the LexisNexis contract.
I haven't received a contract from the clerk's office.
And we need to check on the finance and IT side as to what she's using the credit cards for.
Okay.
All right. If I could then, it would probably be better that Mr. Barsha, our county exec, would maybe talk with her so she understands that this isn't something that we're doing, that it's procedures that we're trying to follow.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Kruger. I'll have that discussion with her.
Sounds great. Thank you.
I do know the treasurer's office has LexisNexis software in there, and I don't know if it's piggybacking on some of the systems they're using or whatnot, so that's all information we'll find out.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
So motion to refer and support, right? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. On your table, we had a late addition, just for the property liability for the Hampton
So moved.
high rank. We have a motion and support? Yes?
Support.
Okay.
That's it.
And
Let me get it tomorrow.
they're not here, so,
But tomorrow,
Zach is here.
oh, Zach is here? Okay.
yeah.
So is the additional 3,200 budgeted already or not?
It is budgeted. We put it under a different line item this year because we didn't think the insurance would change from last year. This never came before the board. And the price actually, it went up from 2016. So what had happened was it went right to payables. And with the transition that had taken place, they automatically renewed the policy. And when I inquired to Jeff Nielsen as to why the increase, and it was based off of property values increased by 10%. It's a study that the insurance company does. So we had actually pulled money out of the insurance when we did the budget, and I put it towards another line item, which I can also pull back once I speak with Kim. I wanted the permission to do that before I asked her to do that. And also, next year we'll probably be taking a different route because of the increase. This was kind of a mess trying to get the questions answered from HAI. They didn't send us any information until the 27th of December. And by the time I had received any formal paperwork, it was the 18th of January. So my assistant had already cut a check. I stopped that check. We had it voided because I wanted to make sure we got it in front of the board. However, all the questions that I had to make sure we were covered, and we are currently covered, HAI is covering us. I just didn't want to write a $20,000+ check without permissions. And like I said, next year we will go to bid for it because I don't think the price should be that high. Speaking with Deb Russell before she retired, she said that Bay County's with MMRA, and it hasn't seen an increase. So there are better insurances out there that we can go with. It's just due to the timing and the mass confusion on the part of HAI and the 2017 insurance. I kind of went in blind. So. But we are budgeted for that $34.90. I just have to move it with your permission.
Okay. Anyone else? Commissioner Cooney.
Well, Zach, that's all understandable. You know, you can do a request for proposal at any time throughout the year, and that way you got time. You don't have to wait to the end of the year and do a lot of rushing. You know, you can get with MMRMA, and you can do all your legwork early, and so next year you can be all set to go. I'm sure there's other insurance companies out there that may be more competitive too.
There is. I did a little research. I haven't reached out to anybody. Knowing what I know now, I'll be starting quite early this year with several items on the budget actually.
All right.
Anyone else? Oh, Commissioner Krieger.
So wouldn't we involve Francis with going out and looking at other avenues?
Absolutely. I spoke with Shauna about this when I got all the proper information, and she too agreed that this needs to go out for bid with that type of an increase. And so I will be addressing all proper avenues with Francis, with purchasing and finance and corporation counsel.
We'll let her do the legwork for you.
Oh, I absolutely will. Yep. Absolutely.
Thank you.
She's thanking you.
I know. You're very welcome.
And thank you for seeing this item. not my intention to have it last second, so I do appreciate that, and thank you, Deanne, I appreciate your help with that.
No, you had about 30 seconds more and it wasn't. Okay. Seeing none, as far as any more discussion, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Okay, we don't have any, unfinished business that I know of. Closed session? I don't think. Okay, miscellaneous by anybody?
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Yes.
I'd just like to make a comment and thank the commissioners who were present at the Doubletree yesterday on the discussion of the replacement and the structural deficiencies of the Independence Bridge. And I just say, hopefully you found it as productive as I did. I think the city and the county sitting down together and discussing what options are available to hopefully seek financial assistance in replacing that structure, which is a regional bridge and is also, a vital transportation link to I-75 as well as just important to all of the residents of Bay County. I know that the Corporation Council and I are going to work in coordination with everyone else at the city and possibly the Bay County, and certainly the Bay County Road Commission, to see what federal grants might be available, as well as state appropriations or grants in terms of funding the replacement of the Independence Bridge. As everyone knows, everywhere we go, we get comments, about the various options we have to replace the structure. It's going to be a long, I think, a fairly detailed and long process, but hopefully when we come out of it, we'll have a good, safe bridge for residents of Bay County to use, as well as people who travel through Bay County. And we do have options in terms of, I think, exploring grants that are available to help defray the cost to the local taxpayers. So appreciate everyone attending and all the contributions they made to the session yesterday.
Commissioner Krieger.
Thank you. So, Jim, the one thing that comes to my mind with a couple meetings that I've been to, not as many as maybe yourself and Mike, but I hope the city understands that we're not going to do their legwork for them. We will help and participate. There were a lot of good suggestions that came from the audience that gave them some direction. It'll be up to them to figure out what's out there. I don't think it's the county's responsibility to do what needs to be done to take this further, so.
Yeah, in response, Commissioner Krieger, I know there was a comment made in the media directed toward the county, specifically the county commission, saying that had you taken action 6 months ago, this problem would have been resolved. This is going to be a long process, and it is a city-owned bridge.
That's correct.
However, we want to have a great relationship with the city. The residents of Bay City are residents of Bay County, and we all represent them, but we've got to try to come to some agreement that will be palatable to all of the county residents. I think as we move forward, I know the Chamber of Commerce has indicated they wanted the county and city leaders to appear throughout the county at a series of public forums in which we discuss our options on financing the replacement of the Independence Bridge. I will not commit resources. Certainly that's your role if you decide to do that. I think whatever option ultimately is decided by the city in terms of size, scope, and cost of the structure they'd like to see replace the Independence Bridge, I believe, it's my understanding, Corporation Council, that the county board will most likely have to vote on that option, whether it's a toll, whether it's a millage. It will be before the county board. You will have to cast votes at some point in the future. Amber, would you want to just expand on that a little more?
We've discussed with the city, the fact that there's a constitutional provision as well as a statute that any bridge that's placed over a navigable waterway in any county has to be approved by the Board of Commissioners before it's placed.
I would say then, if they're requesting us to go from place to place with the city and have some type of a communication that, and all the commissioners are engaged in this, but I think it's important that we have some options that look like could happen and not just go just to let us spew what our thoughts are. We need something tangible that we can talk about.
Absolutely. It seems like in the past, it seems like there hasn't been a consensus achieved yet from the city in terms of how they would like to move forward. So
Correct.
we can't coordinate with them until they decide, since it's their asset, what, or liability, depending on your point of view, what approach they want to take. And particularly the cost is going to be important to all the people who reside in Bay County if the county taxpayers are going to participate in the cost of the replacement.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kuhn.
Well, just listening to some discussion here and there, I don't think replacing the bridge is our number one option. I think just getting the costs associated with the inspection on what needs to be taken care of, that's the short-term goal, is to take care of it so it lasts another 20 years or 30 years, and then they can continue to maintain it. To me, that bridge, to talk about replacing that bridge is very low on the spectrum of options. There are no good options, but there are the options that we, as representing the people, not just in the city, Matt Fallon couldn't have said it any better. We got to think, a little bigger. It's not just the city or it's not just the county. It's other counties that benefit from using that bridge, whether it's out in the Thumb, that those folks from down Metro Detroit, and then folks in Midland. In order to maybe get something done on a bigger scale where the state takes over that bridge, we have to work with those representatives as well. But to me, looking at replacing that bridge, I believe that if an inspection says you've got this many things that need to be taken care of, then you figure out how much that costs, and then you educate the general public. And I've talked to a lot of people, and I haven't gotten any negative feedback from anybody regarding a countywide millage. Now, that needs to be done with accurate information provided by the city as to what needs to be done, and then we need to provide the options, which there are no good options, but provide the best of the no good option, which is best for the whole community. And replacing it, in my view, is not a topic.
Well, Commissioner Kuhn and I certainly agree that we need to look at if we can maintain it, if the city can maintain it safely for another 5 or 10 or 15 years at a much lower cost. That certainly ought to be the first option to be considered. We also, as you point out, it's a regional bridge that serves, I think, close to a third of the people who traverse that bridge don't reside in Bay County. So it's important that the region, and I think the state, I know when I served in Congress, I did connect on this as a member of the Surface Transportation Committee. M15, I think it's Columbus, over to 13 or I-75. That would have made it a state highway. The state would own the bridge, and the state would maintain the bridge, which would relieve the city at least of the maintenance costs on the bridge and the operation costs. Unfortunately, it passed the House. It's called ACE-T in about 1997, 5-year transportation formula. Governor Engler at that time opposed the connecting to make it a state trunk line, M15. And Senator Abraham, who was on the Transportation Committee in the Senate, removed the language. We're unable to get it back included in the conference committee report on that legislation. So it's been a topic for a long time, and we need to continue, I think, with Matt Fallon's 8 counties that he represents now. And also, if we can enlist the support of a number of bipartisan, legislators who will approach it in a bipartisan fashion, we may have success in seeing that happen. Beyond that, I think, again, the city, they started off in discussions with basically the total replacement with the United Bridge Partners, and then gotten a lot of reaction about tolls. If we go with a countywide millage with, again, I think that was the 7th meeting, and I know Commissioner Herrick and Durancheck and Begic, Commissioner Begic have attended some previous meetings in which I think the city still would like to proceed on a replacement of the bridge on a countywide millage. But that's problematic because we have to have a buy-in or unanimity of the other local units of government. Otherwise, the entire cost of the millage would be borne by the residents of Bay City, which would make it extremely difficult. I asked the county treasurer, Rick Brzezinski, to formulate if it was just the city, would be the request would be about 20 mills for 30 years. And I think that'd be very difficult to pass in the city. And then if we were to go countywide, it would be substantially less. However, some of the township supervisors have weighed in, as well as a mayor or two, saying that if there's a countywide millage, they would like to see the money from the millage returned to the area unit of government rather than go toward a replacement of the Independence Bridge. So I think you make a very good point, Commissioner Coonan, that the total replacement of the bridge ought to be probably a last option, not the first option. If we can keep it safe for people to travel across, safe for commercial activity, and get some additional extended life out of the bridge, that's personally how I feel. But ultimately, each of you will have to probably cast a vote on whatever the solution may be, depending on the source of the funding. Certainly, if it's a millage or if it's a toll, you would have to. So, but it is good to engage the public, and everywhere I go as well, I'm getting input from citizens, and I know Commissioner Durancheck, has had a fair amount of, I get up to meet with the northern tier of township officials, and they feel that their road needs and culverts and small bridges also are desperately in need of attention and resources. And so, that it'll be all, I guess, countywide discussion. But we've tried to be helpful, and we've met on several occasions. I think the city has to make a determination in terms of how they want to proceed, whether it's a replacement, and I agree with you, or whether it's, investing into it to make it structurally sound and safe for the public to continue to use. So,
Commissioner Reed.
I wasn't able to make it yesterday because of a work commitment, but I did make it to the gubernatorial debate last night, and Lieutenant Governor Kelly was there, and the question about bridges was raised, and I would say he wasn't real optimistic about state money, but it was raised that gas taxes going up, we're raising the registration fees, where's all that money going? So it, and then there were some other candidates there that I talked to about the state helping out. I think we definitely need to look at the state, and I guess Senator Green was there and Representative Elder were there, so I think, and the other argument I've heard is that Detroit gets all the money. Well, we need to get together and get some of that money that Detroit's getting for roads, so, and form a coalition, a bipartisan coalition, what we need to do.
Commissioner Begic, if I could just add to that, in my last year in the Senate, and I served for 8 years on the Transportation Appropriations Subcommittee, Senate Appropriations Committee, and Kirk Steidel, who's a Bay County native and MDOT director, under both Governor Granholm and Governor Snyder, we got a couple of the members of the subcommittee and drove down to Detroit. One of the intersections that MDOT wanted to proceed to replace, the cost was $1 billion, and it would take 7 to 8 years to complete. I believe it, if memory serves me correctly, it was 94 and 96, but I could be misspeaking, but it's a major intersection in the city of Detroit. We're talking $1 billion in cost, and and that infrastructure for one intersection. So we do need strong regional support from Republicans and Democrats who represent especially the 8 counties in the regional alliance, but really from the whole region to, to hopefully influence the executive branch and the appropriations committees in the legislature that the whole state has needs, as well as Southeast Michigan. And I don't know what the status of that, if it ever got funded, because I left a year later. But $1 billion for one project that the state was going to fund is a significant cost. And so my point has always been we ought to engage, the federal and state government. We were paying 47 cents a gallon every time we visit a gasoline station or service station. 47 cents of the price of that gallon of gas is earmarked for federal and state gasoline taxes, which are basically earmarked specifically for transportation projects. Over the years, the Secretary of State and the Attorney General's office have chipped off some of that money. But also the cost of construction continues to go up, the cost of materials, cost of labor. So it's a major issue, and one that I'm sure is not going to be decided quickly, but we need to probably be engaged with the city and help, realizing that they've got to make a decision on what they want to do before we can engage with them. And we'll listen, and we'll try to be helpful.
Any other commissioner? Okay. So, and we do have that on YouTube, right, Nick? It's posted on our county website, and anybody in the public that wants to view that whole meeting can do so. So, very informative, and it's a good start, because we're gonna have others in the future about that particular thing. Any announcements?
February the 22nd, Ask Bay County, Pinconning Township, 7 to 9 p.m. We're going to have county department heads are going to be there to answer questions for those people in Northern Bay County. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Anybody else?
Motion to adjourn is always in order.
Motion and support, all in favor? Aye. Aye.